Okay, let's unpack this. You sent us some, well, pretty intense material this time. Breaking glass, snarls, clashing steel, and then it all went quiet rather suddenly in the transcript. Looks like things got a little hairy for our adventurers in Barovia.
It did indeed.
Well, you wanted a deep dive into this session transcript. It's from Curse of Strahd, Into the Mists, Little Pig, Let Me In, uploaded by Admiral Blackbeard.
Right.
A role-playing game session, and it feels like a real turning point.
It does. And for you, the learner, looking to get up to speed quickly, this transcript is a perfect snapshot. Yeah, perilous situation unfolding, packed with clues and just rising tension. It's such a classic setup, isn't it? Gothic Horror 101. Strangers arrive, closed-off community, instant hostility, looming threat.
Totally. And to help us make sense of this whirlwind, we have our resident expert. You always bring that calm, insightful voice, connecting the dots, and pulling out those crucial aha moments.
Well, I try.
So what struck you most forcefully right at the start here, especially keeping in mind our listeners' desire for, quick insights and those moments of realization?
What jumps out immediately is the palpable sense of danger. The sounds you mentioned, the glass, the snarls, they're not just atmosphere. They signal a violent intrusion into what should be a refuge. It tells you instantly how fragile everything is in Barovia. And then there's the hostility from the villagers. They're more scared of upsetting Strahd than helping their own leader.
Yeah.
That really underscores the fear dominating this place.
Good point.
And finally, the party, they're immediately protective of Irina. You see Ismark's desperation. It sets up this dynamic that strongly suggests Irina is central to some bigger, probably sinister mystery.
Okay, let's dive into the specifics then, starting with that dinner scene. It might seem quiet, but wow, it's packed with info.
Precisely. Even in these, calmer moments, the transcript subtly drops essential details. The meal itself.
Yeah, the stew.
Yeah, just a simple stew, maybe some day-old bread.
Yeah.
It speaks volumes about the scarcity, the hardship everyone's enduring. It's a small touch, but it really paints a picture.
And then you have Irina. She's so curious about the world outside Barovia, asking about the sun's warmth, big cities. It really highlights how isolated, how oppressive this place must be.
That's a great observation. Her questions, they aren't just small talk. They reveal this deep longing for something beyond the endless gloom of the mists. It makes her feel more real.
Yeah, someone with hopes and dreams.
Exactly. Even if they seem impossible in Barovia.
Ismark's questions, though, they're much more practical. He wants to know if the parties face danger, specifically wolves, like in the Slavish woods. He's clearly trying to figure out if they can actually protect his sister.
Absolutely. You feel the weight on his shoulders. He's not just hiring guards. He's making a judgment call about who to trust with Irina's life.
And mentioning the wolves. Nice bit of foreshadowing there.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
And the party's response is classic adventurer swagger. We can handle ourselves. Seen worse out there. The world's a big place. Which, knowing adventurers, is probably putting it mildly.
It's interesting, that contrast. The party's wider experience versus the Barovians' very confined, fear-driven world. They offer a glimpse of something different, and you see it intrigues Irina.
Okay, now here's where it gets really interesting. Irina's backstory starts to come out. We learn her mother, Karina, died about 14 years ago, sickness. And Irina still has this embroidered scarf, her last memory of her. It adds that personal layer, doesn't it? Loss, history, makes her more relatable. You feel for her. The scarf becomes this symbol.
But then the big reveal. Irina wasn't born their daughter. She was found. As a young girl, near the pillar stone of Ravenloft, right at the edge of the Swelich Woods.
And boom, there it is.
Yeah, and she has no memories from before that.
That's crucial. Found so close to Ravenloft, Strahd's castle, with no memory. That immediately raises flags. Big flags. It screams connection to the central mystery, and almost certainly to Strahd himself.
And the description of the pillar stone, like a 1,000-foot sheer rock face, castle perched on top. It really sets a scene. Imposing, isolated.
It really emphasizes the castle's dominance, almost mythical. For her to be found there with no past.
Yeah, that's no accident.
Ismark says their father was hunting nearby, and they think it was like fate that brought them together. It sounds like they just took her in, raised her as their own.
Which speaks volumes about their goodness, right? Despite living in such a dark place, they showed compassion. But that mention of fate, given where she was found, it feels ominous. Definitely. So after dropping that bombshell, Irina politely excuses herself to check the rooms. Ismark comes back, updates them on the missing scouts, Gratuita and family. Still no word. Just adds another layer of unease.
It reinforces that constant danger. People just vanish in Barovia. Keeps that background dread humming.
They quickly plan for the next day, hit the general store. Then Ismark needs to see Father Donovich at the church about the burial. He tells the party they don't need to come to the church initially, and confirms Irina will stay put at the mansion while they're at the store.
Seems practical.
Yeah.
Party gets supplies, Ismark handles the arrangements. But knowing what's coming, it leaves Irina feeling vulnerable.
Exactly. Finally, they agree to turn in, and that's when the atmosphere just thickens. You can feel it in the writing.
Yes, the shift is palpable. The cold, the rain, boarded windows, that eerie stillness. Yeah. It all builds this sense of foreboding, that faint tension mentioned. Classic sign something's about to break.
And the creaking floorboards, that's the first real sign. Ismark tries to brush it off. Just the storm settling the wood.
But you, the listener, and probably the players too, you know something's wrong. The creaking gets louder, more insistent. It undermines his attempts to rationalize it.
Then, bam, window shatters, wolves pour in, 3, then a 4th. It's so sudden, so violent.
That's the tension snapping. The description, pouring in, it emphasizes how overwhelming, how sudden the attack is.
Combat kicks off, initiative rolls, and it's fierce. Zikrin, one of the party, gets a critical hit with a spear, takes down a wolf.
Nice.
Low game. Another adventurer gets a crossbow shot off, wounds one, but then a wolf snaps back and low game. Thankfully misses.
See? They immediately target the newcomers. Highlights the threat. Low gain near miss just ramps up the chaos of melee.
Genuax uses Searing Smite. Sounds painful.
It is. Weapon damage plus ongoing fire damage. Pretty potent in a fight like this.
A third wolf gets in low game. Hits, 9 damage. Ouch. Then Ismark jumps in, attacks, kills a wolf. Good on him.
Shows his courage, right. Defending his home, his sister, alongside the party.
Then another window breaks. More wolves come tumbling in. One apparently does it quite clumsily, which is a funny little detail.
Even in terror, those absurd moments make it vivid.
Zikrin, another party member, hits a wolf with Eldritch Blast like a magic beam. Then low game. Finishes off another wolf with a sneak attack. Probably got advantage somehow.
Yeah, sneak attack showcases their specific skills, exploiting and opening.
But the wolves just keep coming. One hits in low game, knocks them prone. Vulnerable now, Ismark wounds another wolf.
The relentlessness is key. It emphasizes the ferocity, how precarious their situation is.
Another window shatters. Lone uses the opening, kills another wolf. Genuax takes down yet another with a sledgehammer. Wham!
They're holding their own, definitely fighting back effectively. But the sheer numbers are still a huge problem.
Raven, who seems maybe more magically focused, uses Cure Wounds on themselves. Heals up.
Smart move. Healing is crucial for survival in these tough fights. Keeps the party going.
A wolf gets through to Ismark, hits him. Then another gets Zikran, hits again. But Zikran reacts instantly. Hellish Rebuke. Fiery magic blasts the wolf that hit them. Kills it on the spot.
Whoa. Dramatic. Quick thinking, powerful magic, eliminates an immediate threat just like that.
The transcript mentions one wolf left is the Toothless Wonder. Clearly seen better days. Ismark attacks it, wounds it more.
Even a weakened enemy is still a threat. Can't let up.
And just when you think maybe they're getting a handle on it, things get way worse. Another window breaks, and something big forces its way through the front door.
Uh-oh.
It's a werewolf.
Oh, that escalates things dramatically. Werewolves are way tougher, more resilient than regular wolves, and that bite, dangerous.
But then, surprise, Irina shows up. She's got a crossbow, shoots the werewolf, and actually does some damage.
Good for her. That shows real agency, right? She's not just waiting to be rescued, steps up to defend her home, adds depth to her character.
Genuax tries to finish off that poor toothless wolf with the sledgehammer, but misses. Raven then uses something called Channel Divinity, orders demand, tries to magically command the remaining wolves.
Channel Divinity, that's a special power clerics or paladins get. Usually pretty potent effects.
And it works. On the werewolf and the toothless wolf, they're charmed, temporarily passive.
Brilliant. Tactical genius right there. Turning the most dangerous foes, even for a moment, gives them breathing room. Huge play.
But it's not over. Another regular wolf slips through and attacks Ismark again. Hits him. Man, Ismark is taking a beating.
He really is.
But he fights back, attacks the werewolf twice while it's charmed and vulnerable, and stuns it.
Wow. Incredible resilience from Ismark. Stunning the werewolf, that's a game changer. Makes it wide open.
The party jumps on it. Zik hits it. Lone hits it. Irina shoots it again. Genuax attacks with a sickle, hits 2. Then Raven finishes it. uses a spell called Inflict Wounds. 18 necrotic damage. Boom.
A decisive blow.
But even then, more windows are breaking. It seems they're still surrounded by the regular wolves.
The onslaught just doesn't stop.
So, okay, the immediate aftermath of that huge fight. Arena checks Raven's wounds. They start boarding up the broken windows, trying to make the place secure again. Raven uses cure wounds on themselves.
Practicalities.
Yeah.
Tend the wounded, fix the defenses, survival 101 in a place like Barovia.
The party talks a bit then, like, are we really good enough to protect Irina after that? And Irina mentions she has silvered arrows. Silver, the classic werewolf weakness. They decide to study the werewolf corpse later, maybe learn something. Genuess gives the healing potion back to Zik. Nice bit of teamwork. Then, figuring out where to sleep, they're clearly still on edge. Raven decides to stay in Irina's room with a holy symbol out for protection.
Smart. A holy symbol can ward off certain evils in D&D settings. Extra protection.
Genuax is going to meditate in a corner. Zik takes another bed. Lone bunks with Ismark. And Genie Wax apparently volunteers to stand guard outside the room.
Good distribution. Covering angles, staying vigilant. Raven with Irina, someone watching the door. They're taking the threat seriously now.
And here's where things get, well, weird again, supernatural. Irina has a nightmare. A really vivid, messed up nightmare.
Dreams in settings like Curse of Strahd are rarely just dreams. They're often significant. Warnings, revelations.
So in the dream, a garden, pale moonlight, dark crimson roses, this ancient twisted tree with lanterns hanging from it. Spooky vibes.
Classic Gothic imagery, beautiful but unsettling, sets a sinister mood.
Then a voice whispers her name, Strahd.
Chilling. Establishes his presence immediately, his direct connection to her.
He appears under the tree, asks why she always runs from him, offers her, well, everything. Beauty, peace, safety, protection. But it also reminds her, subtly, what happens if she resists.
Textbook manipulation. Preying on her fears, her desires, positioning himself as the only answer, the only safety in his dark land. It's tempting, but false.
He holds out his hand, like, just take it, end the fear, end the pain. But she refuses. Finds the strength to say, you have no power over me.
That's a powerful moment for her character. Rejecting him, despite the terror, shows real inner strength.
And as she says it, the dream garden just withers, dies, lanterns go out. Strahd seems angry for a second, then just indifferent, vanishes into mist.
The garden reacting like that suggests a deep link between her will and the forces here. Strahd's indifference, even scarier than anger maybe, hints at a long game, a cycle.
Then she wakes up screaming, and get this, her palms are bleeding.
Whoa! Physical manifestation of the nightmare. That's disturbing. Suggests a deeper connection, maybe even supernatural. Why the palms? What does it mean?
The party hears the scream, obviously, rushes in. Zik checks the room, high perception roll, apparently sees nothing physically there.
Good reaction. Check for immediate physical threats first. Zik confirming the room is clear means the danger, for now, is contained to the nightmare. Or was it?
Because then Zik touches Irina's hand, probably to comfort her, and gets hit with a vision.
Ah. Psychic contact.
Seems like it. Sees multiple images, fleetingly, different women, all looking strikingly like Irina. And they're all dying.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, stagged, falling from a high balcony in a bloody wedding dress, overlooking clouds, like medieval style. And the deaths seem to repeat over and over.
That is huge. A pivotal reveal. A recurring curse. A cycle of tragedy linked to Strahd's obsession. Women who look like her dying tragically, perhaps across centuries. The wedding dress, the fall, suggests a history within Ravenloft itself.
Zik is shaken, obviously, tries to explain it to Irina gently, says it's a connection to death, but doesn't feel immediate for her, then uses cure wounds to heal her bleeding palms. It works. Raven decides to stay in the room with her holy symbol prominent.
Zik's vision adds this massive layer of mystery. Why her? Why this cycle? Healing her is compassionate. Raven staying shows that protective bond solidifying.
And then a final twist in the transcript. The party have a dream.
Ooh. So what's the dream?
You're in a large tent. An old woman, cloaked, introduces herself. Madame Eva. She talks about winds of fate, winds of doom. Very cryptic.
Madame Eva. Okay,
Yeah.
She's a very significant figure in Strahd lore. Vistani seer, often tied to prophecy, fate, the Taroka deck. Her appearance is a big deal.
She warns you. The Lord of the Land, Strahd, he knows you're here, and he won't rest until he claims your souls. Standard bad guy stuff, but still scary.
Reinforces the stakes. Strahd is aware, and he's actively hostile.
But she offers hope, says you need to seek her out. Her tent is at a place called Serpool. A potential ally, or at least a source of guidance, and a specific location, Serpool. gives the party a tangible goal.
She said she can read the cards, decipher your fate, but time's running out. Shadows are growing. The dream ends with her just repeating, "Find me at Serpool. Find me."
A direct call to action. Seek her out for answers, for a path forward. The urgency, the growing shadows. It really drives home the danger and the need for guidance.
Wow. Okay. That escalated fast. From a tense dinner to werewolf home invasion, nightmares, visions. You definitely know how to pick them for these deep dives.
Well, this transcript had a lot packed into it.
It really did.
Yeah.
So what are the key takeaways here for you, the listener, trying to piece all this craziness together?
Okay, key takeaways. First, the immediate constant danger in Barovia is undeniable. Even the burgomaster's house isn't safe.
Right.
Second, you see that protective bond forming within the party for Irina. They're getting invested in her story, her safety.
Third, the mystery around Irina deepens significantly. Her past, her connection to Ravenloft, the fragmented memories. It's all pointing somewhere big.
And the vision.
And the vision, yes. Her nightmare, Zick's vision, they strongly suggest this recurring tragedy, almost certainly linked to Strahd's long history and obsessions.
Okay.
And finally, Madame Eva's dream. It adds this crucial new layer, a potential guide, a path forward maybe, but also ramps up the urgency and reminds us just how powerful Strahd is.
So for you listening, you've basically got a front row seat now. Escalating dangers, tangled mysteries in Barovia. What does it all mean? Why is Strahd seemingly obsessed with Irina? What's the deal with those repeating deaths in the vision? And Madame Eva, friend or foe, can she really help? Lots to think about before our next dive.
And it raises that final question, doesn't it? That dream of Madame Eva. Is it genuine hope? A helpful warning? Or could it just be another thread? Another manipulation in Strahd's grand death?
Exactly. Let us know your theories, your questions about this session. We really want to hear what stood out to you. Until next time, keep digging deeper.